Well, I woke up this morning from a reoccurring dream.
Hello people, I'm Jaby KOAY, and we're going to be looking at the trailer to MILI. This is directed by Mathukutty, Xavier. It is starring Janhvi, Kapoor, Sunny, Kaushal, Manoj, Pahwa, Hasleen Kaur, and Rajesh Jace. You guys, thanks so much for joining. Please do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching if you are, and if you're not, hit that subscribe button 3 times. This comes out in cinemas November the 4th. Remember the 4th of November. That's not the saying, but it's close enough. There's a very, very famous film called V for Vendetta, and there's a whole thing in there about remember the 5th of November.
Remember the 5th of November.
I wonder if they deliberately avoided it. They could adopt it, remember the 4th of November, it still rhymes. So, here we go. All right. I'm sorry to pause. The tone switch is just always interesting to me because it starts out like super frightening and then it's like, it's like all happy hunky-dory. I'm like, I know where this is going. You can't fool me, trailer.
My name is MILI Naudyal. I live with my father. Papa, cigarette पी रहे आप अंदर?
नहीं तो
मिटा दिया सबूत?
सबूत? कौन सा सबूत?
पीठ में मुक्का मारेंगे झूठ बोला तो।
आप तो हमको छोड़ के कनाडा जा रही हैं ना? जाइए। उससे भी कोई दूर देश है तो वहाँ चली जाइए।
मार पिटाई के बाद एडमिट हुआ था तुम्हारे हॉस्पिटल में। डरने की जगह तुम तो प्यार कर बैठे।
Welcome to Doom's Kitchen. Can I take your order, please?
कौन है?
फ्रेंड है सर।
गर्लफ्रेंड? बाप का नंबर दो।
सर उसकी क्या जरूरत है सर?
मिली नाम की लड़की रात से मिसिंग है। कुछ जानते हो उसके बारे में?
घर नहीं पहुंची अभी तक।
पिछले दिनों में उसका किसी से कोई झगड़ा या बहस?
ये पैसे तुम्हारे बाप ने क्या?
Yo, this is so unsettling because this kind of stuff has happened in real life where people get trapped in a room, particularly in like a bank vault. You can get trapped in there and all the air gets sucked out. You could suffocate to death. It's the craziest thing, but like freezing to death. Oh my goodness. Oh, be careful, you guys.
ये पैसे तुम्हारे बाप ने क्या?
यहाँ एक मिनट काटना मुश्किल हो रहा है ये सोच के कि हमारी बेटी किस हाल में होगी, कहाँ होगी।
लड़की की जान को खतरा हो सकता है।
मेरी बेटी कहाँ है?
अंकल मुझे सच में नहीं पता।
Whoa. It's a very interesting premise. I wonder how long the suspense lasts for the audience. I mean, I guess it's like a very simple question. Will she make it or won't she make it? You know what I mean? Because you already know a lot of the movie. It's very, very clear right there what's going on in this story for the majority of the picture, right? The simple question is, does she make it? It's a coin toss. Does she or doesn't she? I would imagine she does. Hopefully they think to go and check out that restaurant and I mean, would you have the sense to go and look inside the freezer? Because it's not that often that people get trapped in these things, but it does happen. And it's not the first thing you think about. But I have heard of stories where people, like I said earlier, they get trapped in like a bank vault because of the security measures where it automatically shuts. One of my instincts is if I know I'm gonna go back out of somewhere, like I might put like a wedge of some kind, like a box or something, so I don't get stuck inside of a freezer. Here in the States, they have a door on the, a handle on the inside so that you can't get stuck in there because obviously it's extremely cold in order to keep all that stuff, what do you call it, from going bad, you know what I mean? To keep the food from getting spoiled, so it has to be really cold, but it's not meant for humans, especially if you're not used to that kind of environment. If you're Vijay Jamwal, you'd be all right. Just hang out naked, just like, this is good for me. I'm chilling. No pun intended. Yeah, I like this idea, and what's intriguing about this to me is that a good portion of the film mostly takes place in the same location, and so from a producing perspective, I actually really appreciate that because you're creating a lot of suspense with at least a low-budget premise because you're just using this one spot, and a lot of that comes down to her acting because ideally they're not really putting her through that low temperature of -17 degrees Celsius. Ideally, it's just you know, what do you call it? Like a smoke machine of some kind, and she's just pretending to be cold. Unless she was like, yo, I need you to like turn down that temperature because I'm a method actor and I need it to be legitimately cold in here. I don't want to make up. I want to be legitimately having these like, whatever they're called, where her skin starts breaking because it's so cold. I don't think she'd actually want that. It's a good job of the makeup. But I would imagine it's mostly acting. The fact that I'm buying into it, even in this trailer, speaks volumes about her acting, her performances. Not just her acting, but the way it's crafted and whatnot, between the direction and the effects. It's definitely a fear of mine. Oh my gosh, like, you know it's coming, and your instinct is to fight to survive. Your instinct is to like keep going and look for a way to get out of it. Do you think people would get tired of hearing that story? You know, there was one time I almost died in a freezer. We heard this one already. Sunny. Or Janhvi. You don't have to tell the story again. Or MILI. Her name's MILI. We already heard this story, MILI. We know you survived the freezer. There's actually a movie called The Frighteners, and there's a scene that made me quite curious about freezers because Michael J. Fox has to kill himself in order to access these ghosts that are haunting him or something. I forget exactly what happens in the movie, but he has to cross over to the other side to try to combat this ghost. So you could technically like die for a little bit and then come back. I mean, I think that's the entire premise of Flatliners, if you guys haven't seen that. Do you think they'll have that? They'll explore that in this movie where she actually does go for a minute and she's like exploring the afterlife for a moment and then they bring her back with the defibrillator or something? That could be interesting. That could be a direction. That could be the surprise, because as it is right now, there is very little in the way of surprises. They've given you most of the movie in this trailer. So what's left other than does she make it? Will she find a way out? What's nuts is her boyfriend is being blamed. That's an easy go-to thing, and it's totally understandable why he would get blamed for something he didn't even do. He had nothing to do. He's just as confused as the rest of them. But he's suspect number 1. Or suspect 0, I forget what it is, but he's the prime suspect in this particular situation. And you get it, like you understand why. That sucks. That's a terrible situation to be in. Like, I don't know, I love her. Why are you guys pointing the finger at me? I didn't do it. Are you guys gonna go watch this, or how curious are you to see what happens in the end of this movie? Do you think there's anything beyond the scope of whether or not she survives? Are they gonna go deeper than that? Is her coming out of this or not coming out of this gonna be like the end of the movie, 10 minutes before the film wraps up? Is that what it's gonna be? And it's gonna be like this sad ending, you walk out crying, but it's like a lesson to be learned. Everyone knows now. There's a film with Raj Kumar Rao where he gets trapped as well. Is it called Trapped? What's it called? Locked? Hotel? Room? Door? It's some simple thing. I forgot. Trapped. Ah, there it is. That's the name of the movie. Trapped. Yeah, it's a survivor's tale of him trying to get out of there. I think he's got like nothing to eat. If you're into this kind of movie, you should definitely watch Trapped. It's all about him trying to escape intact, alive. This situation seems a bit more harrowing because there's like a ticking clock. It's not just like your body eventually being dehydrated and, you know, starved. This is much more pressing because you could freeze to death. So very, very, very interesting premise, and hopefully you guys are into it. Let me know your feelings in the comments below. Do subscribe, please, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Jaby KOAY. Peace out.